awesome people on planet Earth. This is Scott Churchson alongside Mr. Robert Leckington, Mr. Ryan O'Regan, and Mr. JT McGuire. And this is Tales from the Film Set. And welcome to Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV channel 250. When you basically download the Zingo TV app, make sure to actually rate and leave a comment. The app is available on the iOS and Android devices. Zingo TV, by the way, is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward. And a happy good evening to all of you out there. I hope you guys had yourself a great holiday if you're Christian. If you're on Kwanzaa, I believe it's Ujima today, day 3, which is the holiday of responsibility, I think, if I got that one right. But if you don't celebrate any holiday, hope at least the weather was nice for you. So, gentlemen, how are you guys doing today?
Very, very tired, but ready to go for the show. Today we're talking about a few things that I'm very interested about.
Yes, we got a lot to cover in this 19-hour show that we're going to be doing. I know JT is tired at this point. He is not even moving a muscle after I said that. He is like, I'm ready to sign off right about now.
I'm still waking up. I just rolled out of bed to start doing the show, which I don't know if I'm trying to admit for just to be funny, but it's true.
That's okay. Listen, there have been times where I've like taken a nap on the couch, gotten up, and it's like, all right, I got to be on air in 20 minutes. That's part of half the reason I wear the hat. Wear the hat is just because of the fact that I don't want to deal with bedhead.
I think as you get more used to doing something, you become more comfortable. I don't know if I told this story before, but I once worked with an anchor who literally spent an hour in the hallway with me talking about professional wrestling. And 30 seconds to air, he's still standing there, and I'm like, dude, they're calling for you. I can hear them over that. And he's like, I'm there screaming, and he's just slowly walks into the studio.
And then probably sits down when they're basically down to 5, 4, 3, and just rolls like it's a day at the office. It's one of those things. Yeah, you see these people, and you're like, dear God, but it's something they're used to. Meanwhile, you're on the other side going, oh, God, I'm going to get fired. He's talking to me. They're going to think I did this. This is my fault 100%. Yeah,
we're going live. Where is he?
He just like struts in, boom. And today's news.
So, all right, let's do this.
Yes, let's talk some stuff here. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to be covering today. Cobra Kai season 4, Matrix Resurrection, or as we've sort of dubbed it, Matrix Indigestion. Although I do actually rather like it myself. Possibly a little year in review in the world of film, the dumbest things that we've seen, the funniest things that we've seen, and just regular things that we've seen. But I want to kick things off with the fact that basically I'm excited once again because it's Cobra Kai, and in this case, Eagle Fang, which basically if you know Cobra Kai and you've seen season 3, you recognize the Eagle Fang t-shirt. I got this thing the day it premiered last year. And nice. I was very happy about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm breaking this shirt out tonight because Cobra Kai season 4 drops on Friday.
So, nice. What are they going to call the new school? I mean, spoiler alert. I know that they've kind of merged together to sort of kind of come together for a cause and everything. But what are they going to call the school now? I mean, are they going to call it the Miyagi-Do Eagle Fang? I mean, come on.
Miyagi Fang.
Miyagi Fang. There you go.
Yogi-Do. I have a couple of thoughts and predictions, but I can hold on mine. I'll give you guys a chance if you want to go first.
No. I think you have expressed how excited you are. You're pretty much telling us that you will end friendships if you're kept away from this. So we think you should go first on this.
All right. You know what? I'm going to basically mention this one right off the bat. My wife just bought a used car the other day, and part of Nissan, I'm going to name call them on this one, is that they promise a 160-point inspection on everything soup to nuts. Brought the car in on Monday. Dropped it off, waited for it like the hour and a half. Like, okay, it's done. We need this. It turns out they did the wrong inspection. So they did not do the promised 167-point inspection. They just did one generic one out of nowhere. And they're like, they did not do what was promised. The only time that they have available is 9:30 on Friday morning.
Wow.
So at this point, basically, we're either going to go and wait for it or possibly on Nissan's suggestion, go there, drop it off, come back. I'll watch an episode or two and then go back out, pick up the car again, and then come back and finish it. So, yeah, thank you.
Time to upgrade your plan for a day.
Yeah.
Just so you can watch it on your phone.
I won't do that. I don't really like to watch new content on my phone unless it's something like, I mean, One Piece is okay because there's 787 billion episodes of that. She-Ra's okay. But for something like this or Mandalorian, I don't want to do that. Boba Fett also, I would not watch it on my phone. I just don't feel it does it justice.
Okay.
So,
I can respect that.
But certain things, like I said, with, One Piece, because there's still, I still have 938 billion episodes to go. I can afford a couple of them on a phone. But yeah, in this case, season 4 has already gotten strong reviews from the YouTubers that were fortunate enough to get a preview. That is part of my goal to eventually be one of those people to get the preview link and access and whatever that's going to be. But rumor has it that season 4 and season 5, which has already been filmed and wrapped, are the best seasons so far.
Really?
Yeah, they've already wrapped season 5 at this point.
Wow.
Wait.
Yeah.
They doing the season 5? I thought season 4 was supposed to be the finale.
No, they're talking about season 6.
Really?
Yeah, I had heard that they were even possibly extending it to possibly even like 8 or 9 seasons.
Which might be too much in my mind, but
yeah, Ralph Macchio was saying something about the fact that he could see it even going further, but yeah, no, it's got an extended run, so we just don't really know at this point.
Yeah. There's some talk about some spin-offs that may happen, which I wonder how long you can run with this before it starts watering down the product, before it jumps the proverbial shark here.
Probably season 4.
Season 4, William Zabka had gone on record by saying that season 5 was the best season. Maybe he's supposed to say that, I'm not sure, but he's like, it's the best written, and best shot one of the series.
It's the best. It's the greatest. It's the truest of all time. Watch
Exactly.
it, buy it, give me money.
Yes, because Netflix needs money. I need like a Mr. Krabs, things like money. But working theory. Go ahead, please.
No. I didn't really have anything to add. I just did I mention this on last week's show? I didn't realize that Altered Carbon was canceled. That apparently happened last year. Yeah. So it's like if it don't make you money, it ain't coming back.
Or in some cases, if it's divisive, like Cowboy Bebop was.
I don't know if that. Yeah, I guess their thought process there though was like, okay, we kind of milked this for what we could get out of it. We're probably not going to get any more for the next time around. But anyway, Cobra Kai.
Yes, but like I said, they've already filmed season 5 before season 4 has actually dropped. So credit where it's due for the fact that they've gotten that far with it already. My theory is, and I'm just going to throw this out there. You guys, at least a couple of you guys have seen through season 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. My working theory in this case is I think Robbie and Cobra Kai are going to win the All Valley tournament this year. This is the second year of the tournament itself. I think he is going to win this time around. He lost in the final round last time in season 1. I am pretty confident. My guess is he's probably going to win this season. If you got an opinion, let me know differently. I'm curious what you guys think.
Well, I'm thinking, okay, with Terry Silver coming back, that he's going to have a major influence, obviously, in the show and everything. But what is it that is going to really happen as far as him, like teaching Robbie how to cheat kind of thing, or I don't know. I have the impression that maybe Robbie might be winning the All Valley tournament too, but it's going to be a really close match, if that's what you want to call it. With I keep forgetting the kid's name, the not Robbie, but the
Miguel.
Yeah, Miguel. Yeah. Miguel's
bottom right.
Exactly. Miguel. It's going to be like the ultimate matchup once again, since this the finale of the season 2 being crucial. I mean, how's Miguel going to come back and be able to take on Robbie, and what? This season's going to be incredible, I think, because of the fact that they're bringing back Terry Silver and who else would they bring back? Maybe at some point could they bring back the girl, or
Aisha.
even like
I want Aisha back.
Have a cameo from say like Will Smith's son.
Oh, Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden Smith. I mean, or who knows? I mean, they could open it up to a lot of new or not necessarily new, but just recurring.
Yeah, but we haven't
people.
had Ms. Robinson since season 2.
Right.
So you go ahead, please.
Ooh. I don't. I think it could go either way because I believe both Miguel and Robbie are the yin and yang. They're neither is purely good or purely evil. They're kind of both sides of the coin. So my thing isn't so much about who's going to win the tournament, but who's going to win the fight for good and evil in this round. Is it going to be Robbie winning, but he remains with Cobra Kai to prove that the Cobra Kai way is the right way? Does he kind of turn on them to go back to it? But I didn't know there was a season 5. So now this opens up all possibilities because it means they're going to have to do another cliffhanger to keep things going.
That's why I'm saying Robbie will probably win season 4. Now, Teresa just posted the fact that, basically see a school that's not a main focus. Topanga Karate, if you remember season 1, where you had Xandor, the one's like, I just want to take a moment to, basically, even though we're fighting here, I want to take a moment for peace in our lifetime. And then just dead silent, everything completely awkward. I almost wonder, wouldn't that be funny if actually Topanga or Karate or one of those other ones actually win? You might see him back and his mom as well. By the way, great chin there. You might see his mom come back too, and she was like one of those karate moms as they're referred to. But who knows? But I think, like I said, my money is probably on Robbie right now. Although again, that would be really funny if somebody out of left field took it, like Bob's Dojo and Reseda.
Do you think Allie's coming back?
She was in there in season 3 for 2 episodes. I don't know if they need her at this point. I mean, it was a nice little fan service, but I don't know if she would drag down the story at this point because she and Johnny weren't, nothing happened between them ultimately. So what would be the point of bringing her back in?
I don't know. I mean, at some point, because she was such a main character in the film, the original film and everything, and the fact that she was, brought in for season 2, was it season 2 or season 3?
She was season 3, last 2 episodes.
Okay. Right. So, who knows? I mean, she might be brought in for moral support or something for, for either of the two there. So, yeah, but I wouldn't put it, past them to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this picture, you can see the two of them are, pretty pissed off at one another too. So you don't know if there's maybe a divide going on between them, or maybe it's just one of those things I'm reading too much into it, where it's like, oh, this is us together now.
I'm getting a little bored of that though. They've been doing this for 3 or 4 seasons now, where it's like they like each other now. Now they hate each other now. Now they like each other now. I think you can only do that so long before the audience gets sick of it.
I am a little bit, I got to say in this case, it was by season 3, I was starting to feel a little bit. I like the fact that how season 3 ended with the two of them collaborating, but one is going to probably assume that the start of season 4 is going to be like, better. No, I know better. And then that same dynamic is going to happen and they'll iron it out. It's almost like every single season. It's like 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and just keep going that way in general. At some point, you're going to have to put all that behind it. Go ahead.
I think last week one of the shows we were talking about, I was talking about like how they set up the drama there. Like, oh, look, here is a problem. But if person A talked to person B, look how quickly it would be solved. But they don't want to talk to each other, so they drag it out.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai has like the perfect example of this, where every character is fighting each other because they're just not saying the right thing. Within 2 sentences, the conflict would be over, but it doesn't. And again, it's a drama, so of course it has to go that direction. But again, I don't know. It's just it becomes to a point where it takes you out of it, and you just don't want to see it anymore.
I understand.
Me, at least.
Go ahead, Rob.
I'm good. What do you think of the? Have you seen the show, Ron?
Yeah, Big O, you've been quite quiet there. He says, just look as stoic there for a bit.
Did we lose him?
I haven't said a word since the episode began, and now you're just noticing 15 minutes into.
Oh no, I've noticed. I just was waiting.
That, but,
I think maybe 10 minutes ago I knew what you were doing, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna keep cutting them off.
I was almost wondering if you had a problem with the video right there. It's just, Maybe that
No,
wasn't.
I've been quiet on purpose because I know this was a topic that you three cared a lot more about than I did. And even though I've watched the series myself, I remember how hyped you guys got over on the old Film Yap show whenever season 1 first came out, and you were, talking to Ralph Macchio and everything on, those days. So I didn't want to interrupt. I really didn't want to interrupt.
Thank you.
Fact of the matter is, I have such a feeling about this show. I feel like the whole big 80s nostalgia kick that we've been on for the past few years, it feels like it started with this show on YouTube. Trying to,
on YouTube, by the way, just
yeah, back when it was on YouTube. It feels like it all started there. And so I've just pretty much been going through the motions. Is it an entertaining show? Yeah. And do I care whether or not someone wins on this thing? No, because they're going to come up with some sort of typical sort of writing that's going to go ahead and push it to the end. So there's nothing they can do anymore that's really going to be surprising, because they've pretty much milked everything that's in this franchise, short of bringing in Jackie Chan himself. Now, and besides, mind you, I've been quiet because if I did go into my thoughts on this show, it's been brought to my attention that maybe I overtalk on some people, or maybe my swearing gets out of control. And this is the kind of thing that would do it. So for the sake of the audience and for you three, on this final episode of 2021, I have purposely held my tongue. And I will continue to do that until we get to the next topic.
Okay. Speaking less spoken to, is that how that's the new Ryan for 2022?
Oh no! This is just for today. So this way it's like all fair and balanced. Come next year, no, gloves are off.
It's all open.
The gloves come off and everything.
Yep.
Yes. 2022, the year of Big O.
Yes.
That's what my therapist tells me to say. Yes.
Okay.
I am Big O, and you will hear my big mouth.
Because I am the real ordeal.
Yes.
Not that fake crap. The real ordeal, man. So
switch your letter. It doesn't mean a thing. It's all the same.
But yeah, like I said, I'm curious to see what happens. There's been talk about, like I said, a season 6 at this point, possible spin-offs. If they get to Broadway, I think I'm done though.
Yeah, that's my cutoff point.
Do we think they're going to go to Broadway? What?
Cobra Kai. My name is Johnny, and I'm the guy. Hey, look, that bully's beating up that kid. I gotta end this. They hit off the skid. It's Cobra Kai.
The musical.
There'd be a song called "Sweep the Leg."
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg, Johnny. Sweep the leg.
Now, sweep the leg. Sweep the leg. Don't have a cow. Yes, it's an 80s reference. I'm okay. But if you don't do it, then you're friggin' gay.
Wait.
It's 80s reference. I get away with that.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg, Johnny.
Oh, God. Why did I even say anything?
See, this is why I shouldn't
talk
the
about
leg, Johnny.
really shouldn't.
You have a job to do. Yeah. Okay.
Wax on, wax off, wax off, wax off.
Yeah. The hit musicals, including Wax On, Wax Off. Dimitri said, call the cops. But anyway, so I think we've pretty much exhausted that topic at this point. I got nowhere to go from there. Okay. But yeah.
Going from one fighting epic to another.
Yes. In this case, yeah. By the way, you can also find us on Instagram and also on Facebook at Tales from the Film Set, and on Twitter at Film Set Tales. I'm Scott. That's Rob. That's Ryan. That's JT. Yes, for moving from one fighting franchise that basically got a surprise reboot to another franchise that got a surprise reboot. Also, both cases, 3 movies, pretty much, and some spin-off stuff as well. Matrix Resuscitation. Resurrection, resuscitation, regurgitation, indigestion. We've actually pallied that around a little bit. The new one right now is Matrix Indigestion. Thank you, Rob, for that one. I appreciate that. Although I got to be real, I liked it. You set that bar low. It's an HBO Max thing. It is bombing at the box office, something brutal. But all in all, I have to say I enjoyed the movie. Now, have you guys seen it yet or no?
I haven't seen it.
Yes, I've seen it.
I just watched it today.
Okay. So basically, all 3 of you have seen it then. Okay.
Yeah. So we're all caught up. I saw this on Christmas Day. I don't know what day it actually came out, but me and my family, we sat around our tree, we started opening presents, have a giant television there. I'm like, I'm gonna put on the Matrix. And slowly, like I'm sitting there with my parents, and one by one they start leaving the room until I'm alone with this film.
Dude.
I could sit there and watch through it by myself, but I had to admit there was a lot of flaws with this thing.
Yeah, but I like it from the standpoint of the where are they now kind of thing. I liked how it tied in. It felt to me in some ways like a story that they kind of wanted to write versus well, here's the thing. Well, I think in some ways, yes, because there was a lot of questions that I think they kind of wanted to have answered, with a lot of it of the where are they now. I do like how they tied in. I'm trying to keep this a spoiler-free review as possible here. Unless you guys are just
this is going to be very hard.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think
so. Basically, 1 second. Rebecca.
Yep, put it in the bottom.
Killing time. Go back to musicals because we're killing time. We need to throw up a little thing that says spoiler free is not
you need to be able to put up one of those screens that just like, please stand by and have technical difficulties.
God, I can't type.
Have a jingle in behind it.
Matrix movie.
It's got choking one of us.
Rebecca, please put in a disclaimer and type it better than I just did right there, because I'm trying to talk to you guys and run the show at the same time, and my accuracy dropped down to like 40% on what I was writing there. So in this case, basically, we're going to wait for that little disclaimer spoiling the Matrix movie. In the meantime, basically, I did want to talk a little bit about, and we're going to get back to it we're going to get to it eventually in due time. 2021 year in movie review. Weird things you may have seen on set, weird things you may have dealt with, oddities and so forth and so on. So before we get into the Matrix, give me some thoughts if you got them on that.
I enjoyed the film back when it was Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was fine back when it was Star Wars The Force Awakens, which, look, this couldn't be more copy and paste if it tried. Why was this done? Why did they try to capitalize on the whole John Wick, Keanu Reeves is a badass sort of thing? Because I'll tell you right now, they didn't do that because they eventually made him look like Magneto, just like force pushing everything.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Like where was the?
Leave that up there for a while. Thank you.
Oh my God, no, not okay. Okay, look, I may have the box set. I may be a fan of the original trilogy. I may even love the Animatrix, which was at least the closest thing we got to an expansion on the world.
Yeah.
But there was absolutely no need for this film to be made. No one was clamoring for it. I don't think it helped anybody's career. If anything, it might have dented Keanu's a little bit. And it is honestly a retread. Someone else take over before I get really angry.
Well, since we're talking about spoilers right now, let's look at this retread. It was such a retread. They were consistently using footage from the previous films. Again, as Ryan was kind of saying, like, who was waiting for this? People were
fun part was they were saying that all that imagery was part of the video game, the Matrix trilogy, the 3 games of the Matrix that were made. And yet there was nothing digital about any of that stuff. It was clearly film. That was the first
15 minutes. Well, they were trying to say, it's so realistic, but it's like the first 15 minutes were dedicated to trying to do this meta thing where they talk about Matrix, but they're referring to it as a video game so they could get away with it instead of saying, oh yeah, it was this movie that we were part of 20 years ago. I don't think this is something that needed to be written, because the way it was written was almost like we were forcing a story out of it. It's like it almost seems like who was the director for this? Was this Lily Wachowski?
Lana Wachowski, yeah.
Lana Wachowski. So it almost seemed like when Lana was writing it, it's like, oh, they're making me write this damn film. Like, how do you even make another film? Oh, how do we even get Keanu back for the? And it's just like, oh, that works. That'll be the first 15 minutes of the film right there.
Good.
And then I don't know. It was like from there, it's like the 60-year jump, the fact that they had to rebuild their bodies because they died in the third film. It's like you had to explain that, and then you couldn't get certain actors back. So like Agent Smith was now a revamped Agent Smith, but he had all the memories. The Morpheus was just a computer program this time.
Well, you also have to look at the age of these guys. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne and Hugo Weaving are up there in age. They can't really do the same action stuff they used to be able to do.
Lawrence Fishburne that played Morpheus.
With Morpheus,
yes,
he's got to be in his 70s at this point, also.
Yeah.
Well, he CGI'd almost everything anyway.
Yeah, I know.
No, I will give Keanu Reeves credit. Like for his age, he's almost 60 years old, and the fact that he can still do a full-fledged action scene like he does, it's amazing.
Well, it's the John Wick training.
Yeah,
he had
it's
more
good
dialogue variants in Bill and Ted Save the World. His dialogue in this movie was bare bones. It's like, I'm surprised he didn't come out with a whoa. Where was the whoa? I was waiting for the whoa.
Whoa.
yeah.
Actually, by the way, Lawrence Fishburne's only 60. I stand corrected on that. All right. My attitude just changed a little bit. Hugo Weaving is 61. All right, you know what? Again, I mean,
Yeah, and I know you like this guy, but it's just like I go by my like, will I ever sit down and watch this again? I don't see myself ever sitting down and watch this again.
I would watch the quadrilogy on it again. You know, I would do all four.
You know what? Now that I think about it, oh god, I'm gonna piss off so many Matrix fans.
By the way, this is his name is JT. I just want to point that out. You can find him.
What's his email address?
He lives right here. If you want to firebomb his house,
security number is A692.
Other than the Matrix, and I love the Matrix, the original film, and that I've watched a million times. I don't think I've watched any of the others since they came out. I think I watched bits and clips of Reloaded. I saw Revolution in the theaters when I was 18 years old, and I think I fell asleep. I've never watched that one again. These movies, it's like they didn't know where to go with them. And I thought, like, well, this is the reboot. They had 20 years to think about it. And what it seemed like was a cash grab.
Which is not doing that much of it really right now.
Yeah, what cash were they grabbing with this? It made $12 million opening weekend, came in number 3 behind Sing 2 and obviously Spider-Man.
Which just passed the $1 billion mark, by the way.
Yeah, so I mean, if it thought it was going to go ahead and like use the nostalgia factor to like piggyback on the idea of like there being a movie with 3 different Spider-Men, it did not do that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like I said, for me personally, they probably banked on the power of Keanu Reeves. You know, and obviously the sequelitis of it and everything.
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Carrie-Anne, who, by the way, I got to give credit. She actually's aged pretty well in the last 20 years. You can see a little older, but
yeah,
I liked seeing her back again.
Here's the other thing. Those two, anytime they were on screen, I'm not insulting her as an actress because I know she's a great actress, and I've seen Keanu do some good stuff. But they had some of the most wooden acting in the scenes they were together, especially at the beginning of the film. It was like so awkward them talking to each other, like to show like how in love they were, even subconsciously. And I'm like, well, this is awkward.
That's what I saw. It was just nothing but like them longing into each other's eyes, pretty much, you know. And they weren't
the
really
only time
like
we cared was when the bodies were actually being resurrected, because these aren't like new glitches. This isn't like the inevitability of the inevitability that we saw in like the second movie, where we found out there was always going to be a Neo, there was always going to be a Zion, and somehow that always got destroyed. No, this is the same one whose dead body was resurrected, thus the title.
By Doogie
and
Howser.
I'm like, they have this technology now. They do this. They could have waited for the next Neo to come along.
Can I also say this? Talking about Doogie Howser, MD, there, Neil Patrick Harris,
the analyst, yes,
NPH.
Can like they fired the architect to hire the analyst, and the way he acted through the entire film is like the machines have this substructure of a regular society. Like, oh, I have to prove to the bigwigs that they shouldn't fire me. And, you know, we got to make that bank and all that. And it's like, you're machines. You're
basically the Matrix version of Facebook.
You're a hybrid mind. How does this work?
Well, that was never really explained in like Revolutions. Reloaded a little bit, but definitely Revolution, where you have like the train man and what Sati or whatever her name was, and it's almost like this own underground independent society.
Oh, and
amongst the
all
machines.
the freaking cameos they got. I mean, aside from Jada Pinkett Smith being,
I know your opinion is like, I don't like this version of the Matrix. It's terrible.
They bring in the fucking French guy. The French guy, the Merovingian or whatever his name was. I couldn't understand a thing he was saying the entire rant.
Subtitle. That's how you watch anything now.
That's how much they actually cared about this script. They let a Frenchman just say, and that's all that mattered.
It was so long since I've seen Reloaded. I didn't know who they were for 2 minutes.
Well, see, that's the mistake I think a lot of people made, is the fact that they went in assuming that they knew enough. Now I didn't go back and see the first 3 movies. I planned on it, but didn't do it. But I've seen it enough, and I know the lore well enough that I didn't have a problem, blending. But I think a lot of people that went into this hadn't seen the other ones in so long, or maybe only saw the first one, and they were completely lost because they couldn't keep up with all the stuff that was going on. Whereas even though they did have the flashbacks, which I think helped some people, if you forgot a lot of it, it would have been lost on you. And I think that's where a lot of people got hurt with this movie.
Basically, this was a movie that was crafted in a way that made it sound like it was smart, and the plot was overly convoluted regardless of how simple it was and how much of the original plot it was. But this is the movie that insults the intelligence of its core audience, of the fans that actually have wanted to see something for whatever reason.
I wasn't insulted. I might be insulted right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't feel
like they have to go ahead and like boggle you down with exposition, which let's face it, that's obviously what Neo and Trinity weren't there for. They were there just to be present. Everyone else went ahead and told the side story of how everything came about and where everything is and what everything is. I'm like,
well, let me ask this, because after Speed Racer, I kind of gave up on the Wachowskis. What have they successfully made since the original Matrix?
Memes.
I mean films. What films have they successfully made since the original Matrix?
I don't know what their resume is.
Because the sequels, I think, for the Matrix were not really that good. Speed Racer wasn't that good. I think Jupiter Ascending they had, which was not that good.
Cloud Atlas, Jupiter Ascending, Bound.
Cloud Atlas, you had Tom Hanks, and who remembers that film? I don't remember that film.
I remember of it. I've never watched it because it just looked so bonkers.
Yeah.
So it's
Bound, Cloud Atlas, Matrix. Work in Progress was there too.
It's like the Wachowskis really like CG. We get
Sense 8 series, by the way, was there too.
So I feel like they had
Vendetta.
They hit this really great film with the Matrix, but they, not to be mean, but it's like they didn't have the talent to ever follow up on that.
It's almost like M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes, they're very much like him.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, the Matrix movie was a fun popcorn movie. I went into it curious with the where are they now. I didn't expect it to be Oscar winning. I was just like, I really like this franchise. I'm just going to go and watch this. It's HBO Max. I'm not even going to the theater. I'm just parking myself on the couch for a couple hours, taking a break when I feel like it. And I'm just going to throw this movie on and see what happens. And I liked it from that standpoint. My question of ultimately, do you finish your thoughts first, but I wanted to add something to it. This obviously was set up in such a way that they would create probably, I'm guessing, a new trilogy out of this. Do you think a new trilogy can still happen? Finish whatever thought you guys had first before you go into that one. I'm curious to get your thoughts.
I'll answer that in a second. I will say this, Scott, you are kind of the boss around here, so I don't like arguing with you too much, but I disagree with most of what you just said there, because you said it was like a popcorn film. I sat down with 3 people, I sat down with 2 other people, and they walked out of the room. And honestly, if I didn't follow the trilogy at all, I would have probably shut it off myself in the first 15 minutes, because it was long and boring. It wasn't as entertaining as I wanted. If it were just straight up action scenes and CG and fighting, I would have been more into that. But it took us maybe a half hour to 45 minutes to even get to that, and it only lasted for 5 minutes before. Yeah, that was another thing too. We had this big action scene in the office, and it lasted for 3 to 4 minutes, and then suddenly we're back in the analyst's office, and then it slows down again. So my final thoughts on this is, it's not, I think, the film that you really want to see. If you're a big Matrix fan, give it a shot. You might be like Scott and you can see the good in it. If you might end up like me and you're just like, oh, what the hell did that do?
I am a definite good try award type of director. It's like, well, Tommy Wiseau tried with The Room. I see what he was going for. That guy who did Birdemic, I saw that he tried. So I am probably a little. I'd be a terrible film critic.
So are you saying this Matrix is the Room of the Matrix series?
No, I do not. I would go to Revolutions on that.
Okay.
I think it's better than Revolutions. I would put it sort of on par with Reloaded in its own right. Different, but as far as like a sequel goes, better than Revolutions, similar to Reloaded. As far as where I place it. Matrix, the first one, is still the best. I don't disagree on that at all. But I think it falls into like a tied for second sort of thing.
Now, you brought up a question near the end there, but I don't want to steal time from Rob or Ryan. Do you guys want to add something?
Well, I thought it was a good movie. I think that I'll have to at least see it a second or even a third time, I think, really, just to kind of soak it all in. But I did notice that there were, not just the nostalgic scenes that were brought back from the original film and everything, but even that scene where they're in the office and he's like, follow me kind of thing, and so, yeah, really, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of torn on it. I'm not really sure.
They took a pot shot at Warner Brothers, though. You got to give them that.
Yeah.
They took a swing at Warner Brothers pretty hard.
Well,
Warner Brothers
our
is
parent
top.
company.
Yeah. They wanted another one, so we had to do it.
Like I said, I think this was just Luna there, just writing her own thoughts on what she was going through.
Yeah.
Damn Warner Brothers, bringing us back.
That was a very not a thickly veiled swing there. But also, I think you mentioned something. I forget exactly what it was, but today's movies are a lot more explanation than discovery now. Even we see it with like Doctor Who, it's a lot more explaining what's going on versus letting the audience figure it out on their own. But anyway, Ryan, I want to give you a final shot on that before we ask about will there be sequels. That is, by the way, his opinion of the film in general.
Dude, it was a fart. All right, let's call a spade here. All right, this is a movie that added nothing to the entirety of the series. This is the Transformers: The Last Night of the Matrix, if anything. All right, it was nonsensical. It was unnecessary. It actually made its core characters look almost weaker by comparison, and it was just something for the Warner Brothers slate. You basically went ahead and burned any good and all goodwill that anyone would have to hiring the Wachowski for anything. At this point, as far as I'm concerned, her name is dead in the water. Because this pretty much shows that she can't even handle her own IP. And if you can't do that, then what good are you?
Well, it is hurting in the... Go ahead.
I was just going to say 20 years of bad films.
It is... Obviously, the box office has suffered. I think it's only like 26, 28 million, whatever it is now. And
yeah,
I don't
can't
know
even blame that on HBO Max. You can't. People will say, oh, well, that's why it didn't make enough money. Dude, even if it wasn't on HBO Max and say all the people on HBO Max went to the theater, let's say it doubled, it still, by all comparisons, did less than practically every other blockbuster movie this year. This tells you this was a bad move.
They could have charged for the stream like they've done with some of those films, but they didn't. They chose not to. So, that's losing money right there.
The question remains, though, is this, like I said, this was set up with a sequel or two sequels probably in mind. I know, listen, you saw the ending. You know that I'm right there, that it was probably building towards the potential sequel. Question is, will there be a sequel, or will this be Princess Daisy joining up with Mario and Luigi at the end of Super Mario Brothers?
This is Princess Daisy meeting up with the Marriott brothers, never to be seen again.
And he basically
Chris
came in
Pratt
looking like a
comes around
commando
20
with
years
a
later.
big old gun. That was it.
Yeah, it's it only made 12 million, and it's not getting the best reviews. I think Internet Movie Database has it at 6 out of 10 right now. I don't know what Rotten Tomatoes is. It's probably worse than that. Yeah,
Does anybody even know what the budget was on this thing?
I'd say 100 mil.
At
Yeah,
least.
I do not. I will look it up.
I will find out for you in a
Yeah,
second.
it's a 5.8 rating right now on IMDb.
Well, and what's it on Rotten Tomato? Because everyone seems to go by what Rotten Tomato says rather than
I
IMDb.
usually stick with IMDb on that. Right now, it's got a 64%, but I don't know which side is that.
65% with the reviewers, 63% with the audience.
So pretty darn close.
Lukewarm. So no one despises it, but they're not like raving about it either.
But they do all agree it is in fact a movie.
It is a movie, yes.
We agree it had a 2.5 hour runtime. What?
That I don't agree.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's why watching it on the couch was a lot easier because I could just sit there and pause and pee. That's the problem with movies when you have them that long, especially when you're drinking something.
Okay,
So
so
I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
So the movie itself made 12 million domestically. It made about 68, 69 million overseas globally.
Okay.
So take that into consideration. The budget of this movie, just production budget alone, not including advertisement, which obviously with the Unreal Engine experience and everything that they've done for it, and the fact that this was pushed back, has heavily doubled its budget. 190 million.
Ooh. And you got to
made
double
12
that
million opening weekend in the States.
You got to double that budget number to break even. So you're looking at 380 to be able to put it in. Looking at the black. Oh God, that hurts.
Yeah, so I'm going to say this is not getting a sequel.
That's like Cutthroat Island or Waterworld level.
I'm gonna say like put all your bets on Ghostbusters getting a sequel before this one.
Probably.
You've got a better chance getting Jupiter Ascending 2 with Eddie Redmayne coming back to reprise his acting.
By the way, JT, do you mean which Ghostbusters? Do you mean the one this year or 2016 getting a sequel?
How things are going these days, I don't know. You know what? That's funny. We're talking about, will The Matrix get a sequel out of what happened here? And we're saying no. The Spider-Man movie is so good. People are asking for sequels to the original Spider-Man films. They're like, now they want Amazing Spider-Man 3.
And that's one of those things where you could see basically both of them, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, reprising their role. You could see how much fun they had going back to it. And I think a one-off movie wouldn't be bad for each series.
Now, I said this
to someone bad for Toby. Toby was looking a little long in the tooth, and don't forget his Spider-Man was like 20 years ago.
But he might actually pass it off to Miles Morales.
Could, but in this one, I think someone got upset at me here. And Tobey Maguire was my Spider-Man growing up, but
someone got mad at you?
Huh? Because what I was saying was. It's actually a common friend of ours. He didn't get upset, but he was like, "You're wrong." I was saying that I think Andrew Garfield was probably the best Spider-Man of the No Way Home. His acting was on point. He was very energetic. He was really into it. Whereas Toby was like kind of like just folling the motions. Like, "Hi, how you guys doing? Hello."
Well, that's
like everything
in every movie he does. He's just just kind of very chill.
But it was just like, he felt like he was just there, with the exception of one scene where he yells at Tom Holland's Peter Parker. He was just so monotone the whole time, whereas Andrew was just like all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also a difference in their Peter Parker personas. Toby was always the meek Peter, Andrew Garfield was a little bit, skateboarding and everything like that. So it's a different in their personality types.
But my thought process was, I kind of want to see more of Andrew Garfield because I think there is more story to be told. Mm-hmm. Just don't do what you did with Amazing Spider-Man 2 and overfill it with bad villains.
Yeah, and ended on a cliffhanger with Paul Giamatti in a giant rhino suit.
So I thought.
I could argue. I think you'd have a better chance of doing Amazing Spider-Man 2, simply because if everything that happened in No Way Home transfers over into Garfield's universe, then essentially you have an Electro who lived, you have a Lizard who lived, and one can only wonder if that does mean that there is no Green Goblin Dame DeHaan version to potentially do anything that kills Gwen Stacy. You know, that's it's a domino effect where it's like you really want to see what happens from there because we left on such a down note with that series.
Well, what I really want to rather see out of that, I don't want them to bring Gwen back. I really rather him still getting over Gwen Stacy, or at least like he's finally getting over it. And then like they keep trying to set him up on this date with someone, and he's just like, no. And then like if into the film at some point he opens the door and sees a redhead who goes, "Face it, Tiger, you just won the jackpot."
Well, then you finally get the Mary Jane Watson.
You're going with the animation on that, aren't you? The blind date with the animation. I knew that reference as soon as you said it.
The comic did that reference. The multiple cartoons did that reference. It's a great reference. It works so well.
Yeah, Aunt May basically, made Peter basically do the a blind date. He's like, I don't want to go, and then she shows up at the door at his doorstep. But you could see, like I said, I think Sony will be smart. They saw what happened here. They saw the excitement and the energy level. And I think they can ride that wave to have one movie for each of them, not released at the same time, maybe one beginning of the year, end of the year. I don't know. I have to figure that out. But I think Sony will be smart with this because they're seeing the dollar signs that can come from something like this. Go ahead.
Do you think they could make Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man part of the universe they've been kind of building in the background? The Morpheus Venom universe.
I think that would be the smartest way to approach it.
I think they're going to do it that way. Yes. I mean, because remember, Venom has already been introduced in the Tobey Maguire universe. To mix.
And we don't want that one back.
I was going to say that movie is most famous for basically, Bully Peter, which is used in green screen stuff. Fighting various characters. I saw one earlier today where it was Bully Spider-Man taking on Anakin Skywalker and Mustafar. Because that's just what it is. You can pull that green screen thing down and just drop both. He's more known for that trope than anything else. Anyway, back to point. You could, like I said, at this point, you could bring Venom, I think, into the Andrew Garfield one and give him a bona fide villain to have to basically take down. Yeah. And then I think Sony's probably already figuring out ways to say, okay, how do we maximize on this?
Of course.
Because again, nostalgia factor.
Well, I think it works best because with that one, at least you're getting villains that haven't been introduced at all, except for the Amazing Spider-Man series. You get your, if you want to bring them in, Electro, if he finds some reason of coming back, you have the Lizard already. Then you can go into all the other ones that haven't been touched. You can get into your Kraven. You can get into your Black Cat. Rhino might still be around for all we know. You could probably get the Hyena. Maybe you could do the Clone Saga if all you wanted to do was like really touch on all the aspects of Spider-Man that they probably won't use in the MCU. Now you have an outlet for it.
Fair enough. So, all right. So we got about 7 minutes left. I'd like to revisit this, and we probably will. But we got about 6-7 minutes left here. I want to talk a little bit about the review. Thank you, JT, for the reminder, the very subtle reminder that popped up on the chat a couple seconds ago.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing me out as I put it in chat.
Listen, you know me. I'm all over the place. You know that basically my brain is scattered, to say the very least here. So I appreciate people keeping me on point here. But at this point, 2021, we sort of touched on it a little bit with Ghostbusters. I want to hear from you guys, weird oddities, stupid things, funny things, just things in general. When it comes to movie experiences, what you've seen, what you've dealt with, what you did wish you hadn't dealt with, and so forth. Ryan, starting with you.
All right. So this way I don't stay quiet. I think overall, just the year that was 2021, we've learned a lot of things from films that I think are tropey. We've learned that certain things are just the bare bottom necessity for filmmaking, and we as a society will eat it up as long as we've got nothing else to look at. We've seen movies rehash the same plot lines, the same tools, the same tropes, whether it be time travel or, a secret villain who, you don't know until the very end of the movie, stuff of that nature, where it's just, I worry about how things are going to go from here on out, because with the past couple of years, we've seen filmmakers and studios go ahead and try to give us everything possible just to keep us entertained. And I fear that we are pretty much telling them, hey, give us slop. It's fine. And then we, as actors, you and Robert and Scott, we are going to go ahead and be on these sets where we're going to end up seeing the same stuff over and over and over. And I think it's going to take a little bit of the love out of the industry for us.
I think humans are a creature of wow, I can't think of that word there. Habit. Thank you. Except when it comes to remembering old quotes. But so I think what happens is in the film industry, because they treat it like a business, they always go for the common denominator that's always going to kind of bring in the most amount of money. And in the last 2 years, where people have kind of been afraid to go to the movie theaters, which is the main revenue source for a lot of these companies, I think they've been just trying to throw hooks out there to try to drag you in. I was thinking about this the other day. Have we had anything really original in like the last few years? I think I can think of John Wick, but past that, have any new franchises popped up or anything new that people want to see that we've created?
No, because it takes too long to do that. It's easy to slice up something old, make it modern, and just drop it right in. Space Jam 2, Cowboy Bebop, and everything like that. Netflix is bringing Yu Yu Hakusho and also One Piece, which, but it's so much easier. It's easier and faster to rebrand an old thing as a new thing and drop it.
I can't really disagree with it. I mean, it's been a weird, like 2021, I think for a lot of people are going to be like the year of renewal. The like we got through 2020, we survived. 2021 is now going to be our year, fellas. And it kind of wasn't. It was just kind of a continuation of 2020. I can't think of anything really great that happened this year that came out this year. I mean, we did have all the new TV shows from Marvel on the small screen, but I mean, after the initial like, hey, we get the TV version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we realized that wasn't as great as it could have been. We just talked about these movies that just came out. They could have definitely been better for the amount of time we waited for them.
It's fast food filmmaking.
Yeah. I guess though, Ryan, you're also speaking as an actor and talking to us gentlemen as filmmakers. Are you talking about like the films that you want to be a part of?
I think any actor who actually enjoys acting loves the idea of like trying something new or trying something that they haven't done before and going out of their own comfort level and really being able to broaden the horizons of their own personal skills. But if everything's going to be cookie cutter from here on out, and if it's all going to be the same kind of movie, just different names and different faces, that's really going to put just a damper on the whole experience.
Wow. I don't want to take over the time, but actually just something that you thought about. We were talking about Spider-Man a few moments ago. Andrew Garfield with TikTok. What do you think about that? Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen anything great come out in movie theaters, but Netflix has been. There's a few things from Netflix that got pumped out that were pretty good, I would think.
You said he was on TikTok.
Well, I'm sorry. What was the name of the movie? It had a very similar name.
Tick Tick Boom.
Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah. Well, this is something I want to revisit probably next week, because next year, basically the next time we do this will be 2022. New year, new me. So I really want to be able to delve into this and what we expect from 2022 if we are more depressed because we figured 2021 was a salvation year from 2020. So are people like less optimistic and being like, oh God, now what? So I want to cover that. I definitely do. And I think that's a good opening for the show next Tuesday. I got to wrap this up. I'm sorry, I'm short on time. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, JT. Check us out on twitch.tv/Tales from the Film Set. We're going to be doing a live stream reaction tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for episode 1 of Book of Boba Fett. None of us have seen it yet at this point. Curious to see what happens. I, for one, am excited for Tamora Morrison to get his own series. He, in the Disney and the Star Wars universe, deserves his own show. But we'll cover that more in due time. Anyway, I got to wrap this up. I'm sorry. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, JT. Thank you, thank you to my father for getting me this Christmas bobblehead, which kind of looks a little bit like you.
That is kind of awesome looking.
Yes. And as always, you can find us on Facebook and also on Instagram at Tales from the Film Set and Twitter at Film Set Tales. Take care. Have a great holiday. Have a great new year and be awesome.
Toodles.
Bye-bye.
See you in 2020.